I can't hear you,
I
Steve.
can't hear.
You guys just got
killed by a monster.
What are you doing?
It's Quiet Place.
I was
lose.
I'm trying to be quiet over here.
I'm
Here,
dead.
let's try again.
All right, let's try.
Let's try again. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I'm the host, Steve. And we're here to talk about A Quiet Place Day 1. And we're all dead again.
Oh, you clever person, you.
Yep, you saw it here first. I am very clever. And you heard it too. Actually, I guess you didn't hear it. You didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it here first.
No,
Not
you
this
didn't.
time.
Definitely saw. Anyway, we are here to review A Quiet Place Day 1. And we got Jack and Alex and Austin. And we're going to give like a spoiler-free discussion of what we thought of the movie overall. We'll give our score, and then we'll get into the spoiler section. So, what did you guys think of A Quiet Place Day 1?
I guess I'll open up. I could consider myself a big fan of the original. So, what's important to note here is Jackson, this is his first film seeing this, but I think everyone else here has seen the original and the second. So, what is this considered a third, or is it considered a spin-off? I don't quite know. Point I'm
Good
getting
question.
at, yeah, right. Point I'm getting at is, I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. We have since the very first movie have been waiting and wondering what was it like on that invasion day, and we got to see more of it. Now, granted, probably didn't get as into it as I was hoping, but we did get to see more of it. So I will say that overall it was an enjoyable clip, a worthy successor in the franchise, but I have yet to see anything wow me as much as the original so far.
I agree.
can
I
agree.
think just to kind of go off of what you're saying, I think it did really well in terms of the right way as far as suspenseful thrillers should go. I feel like it was very enjoyable. The very beginning was kind of lighthearted, makes you drop your guard a little bit, and then it just hits you with all of these intense moments throughout. But it's sprinkled throughout with very touching moments as well. Also, a lot of jump scares, which is great for a thriller suspense like this. But it does leave you wanting to know more. It almost gives you more questions than it answered.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I wanted to touch on that. Yeah.
Mhm.
They introduced some, without spoilers, again, this is a spoiler-free section. They give some interesting lore here, where they expand the lore a little bit more. And my eyes went wide. But it, like Austin said, it left you with more questions than answers. So when are you going to address those questions, guys? Anyway, Jackson, what did you think?
They're never going to answer them.
No.
But so as someone who's never watched a Quiet Place movie just because I don't like horror movies, I'll just say that. I mean, I like horror movies, but they hit me too hard psychologically, so I don't watch them, you know? This one, I was A-okay watching that. No backdrafts from that. So let's just say if you're really scared of horror movies, this one's still a good one. It was just really a monster flick. Nothing really too scary about it, except for there was one jump scare that got me really good, and I think it got Steven even worse.
Yeah.
What one was it?
We'll talk
All of
about that in the
them.
spoilers.
Oh, okay,
but all
sorry.
of them. But all of them.
Fair point.
Don't want to spoil that one. It's actually pretty good.
So Jackson, so when you say you're not a big fan of the horror, is it because a lot of the horror just feels so real, or is it just certain types of horror that you don't enjoy? Or I guess I'm trying to gauge why that
More
is.
just the supernatural horror. I just can't really handle that stuff, so I don't watch it anymore.
Oh, okay. But other
Check.
Other suspense and thrillers you usually do okay with. You usually enjoy that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, just for someone like me that kind of hit you afterwards on the movie, this one didn't hit me at all.
Yeah.
So it's one thing I love about, the horror genre is how broad it is.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me this, Jack, if this worked, because dragging Jack to a horror movie is not easy. But I was like, Jack, you want to tag along? And I said, this is like similar to Jurassic Park. I feel that was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Did that help? Like, was that accurate?
I think that was an accurate description of this. I mean, obviously more scary, but at the same time, it really was just like Jurassic Park, just running from monsters.
Yeah,
pretty much.
you're running from monsters, and it had likable characters who you can kind of see yourself getting along with. It had some quirky humor here and there. But yeah, I totally understand the whole concept of this is a monster film, something that's a little easier to digest versus straight up psychological or paranormal horror that can get a little personal to some people. So
Going back to the characters, though, the main three characters, they have. I won't say who the third is. They had a very interesting chemistry. Each one comes with their own background and kind of issues that they're trying to deal with, which brings a lot of dynamic. It's like a dynamic trio. Dynamic trio.
No.
Because they did pretty good, and I enjoyed the character development for everyone, except for one. We'll get into that later. One of those problems.
if we're going to count main characters on the screen, let's just say you have a protagonist, you have a character who helps her advance, who has its part, and then you have the monster. Every monster movie, the monster is a character within the film. Even
That's
if
fair.
it's a couple of monsters, right? They still
fair.
all think the same. They operate under a certain specific rule set, and this movie has no exceptions. It very much follows those rules. These monsters are... it's fair to say that these are familiar monsters now. When The Quiet Place originally came out, it took the world by storm because it was such a cool concept, right? It was like, oh, wow, imagine living in a world where you can't make a sound. But it's been... Does anybody have the year of the original on top of their head?
April
It's like
6th,
2000.
2018.
Oh, it's like
Was it
only 6
2018?
years.
So
Yeah,
we're
2018.
6 years? Okay, 6 years. So we're not quite at 10 years, but we had 6 years for people to fully kind of understand and grasp this type of monster, and I dig it. It's a fun concept.
Well, and it's an interesting point to jump off of that real quick is you would think with a movie where the entirety of the franchise revolves around having to be quiet, you would think that would become stale after two movies. But because this introduced the origin story, it was an origin story, and so they had to navigate around this learning that they had to be quiet, and I think that was pretty interesting. That kept it not stale, kept it pretty fresh. So
Yeah,
Something I
agree
have
to
to
that.
say is, though this movie is fantastic, I loved it. It didn't quite capture the same amount of intensity as the part 1 and part 2 did for me. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one I'm going to be adding to my collection for sure. And it's a very fun watch, is what I'll say.
I think it's important to keep your expectations in check, and I'm going to say this for a reason. When the first movie came out, it had high expectations because it came in with a new, bold idea, right? And I completely agree with Steven when he mentioned he didn't feel it was as intense. There are scenes in the first movie that are just knuckle biting. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, like they had every concept and idea down.
oh yeah.
I mean, let's not beat around the bush. We're not spoiling the first movie, but the first movie brought in the idea of giving birth to a baby in this world. The whole time you're like, how? This is a death sentence.
Mhm.
That was one of the strongest points that movie had. So
Sure.
I believe that the second movie and this movie haven't come close to what we saw in that first movie. This movie, I don't know what it was, but I went in thinking, I'll see another Quiet Place film. My expectations were low, and I was like, okay, you know what? That was actually not bad. It was like this. I enjoyed it.
Should we
Well,
give
with
our
that-
scores?
Yeah, let's give our scores.
All right, Alex. That being said, what would you score this thing?
I would give this movie a 7 out of 10.
Good.
Nice.
Jack?
Agree with Alex. 7 out of 10.
Okay. Austin?
I'd have to go with an 8. Just 8.0 out of 10.
Nice.
And I myself, 8 out of 10 as well.
Woohoo!
8 out of 10. Nice.
All right. What does
Hold
that make
on.
the overall score?
I'm working on it. I should have been prepared for this. I wasn't.
7.75.
7.
Oh,
See,
wow.
that's
You're
a
way
that's a good
faster than
score.
me, dude. Nice.
I mean, it's just maths.
Wrong. It's
Heard it
8.
here
I'm
first.
just kidding.
Round
Just
it up.
kidding. I'm rounding up. So you heard it here first. It's an 8. Just kidding. All right, now we're getting into the spoiler section. If you have not seen this movie yet, go see it first. Come back. 3, 2, 1. Alex, you start us off, man.
I'm going to talk about the scene that bothered me the most. The scene
The
where,
4 characters. Yeah.
where I straight up said, "No, that was stupid. Like, what were the writers thinking?" I even laughed. I couldn't. I wanted to laugh because
he
I was
busted
like,
up laughing. Yeah.
it was like, this is. Did he make a pitch? Did he make a pitch meeting for this yet?
No.
No.
Okay, I'm
No.
waiting because I promise you it's going to be in there. But it's the scene. Okay, so we have established the monsters work by audible, right? They work by sound,
Mhm.
and everybody knows that. Everybody's being quiet. This isn't like the first hour. So anybody who's alive, it's like, let's say it's hour 5. Anybody who's alive at this point has figured it out. Good job, evolution working. So the main character, and I'm so sorry, I don't remember these characters.
Samira.
And
Samira
what's her
and
friend?
Eric, who's the guy from London.
'Kay.
Who's
Samira and Eric are just chilling. What happens? The power goes out, obviously, because we know the power's about to go out in these apocalyptic events. It only takes a matter of time. And what happens? A generator kicks on outside the building.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I remember this.
So I'm going to just ask everybody here. In this scenario, if a generator flips on outside the building, what are you going to do?
Leave it the frick alone.
Why?
Run away from it.
Run away
Why
from it.
would you run to turn it off? That is just the most nonsensical, like, how does that... I really was, like, throwing my hands in the air, like, what is he doing? What is he doing? This generator is worthless. It's never going to be used again. So
Nope.
You're not saving it. It's not saving the generator. It's like, I'm just going to go run right to the most dangerous place in the entire city. Because realistically, all of them should have piled up on there. He's lucky one showed up. Like,
No
jeez.
kidding.
That's a good point. I was trying to recall if there was any particular reason why they needed the electricity. I mean, if it was a hospital or something, that would make sense. But in this case, they were just in that like a theater or something.
It
the
was like a
marionette.
theater, yes. And
Yeah.
here's the
Marionette theater.
thing: even if they needed the electricity, name a time they would have been able to use it for more than a minute, because the monster would have destroyed it as he did.
Yep.
Yep.
It was straight up just a suicide run. That's all
Yeah.
it was. And I'm like, sorry, hate to say it, dude, but you deserve that.
Sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck. So-
Darwinism at its greatest, right
yes, like that was like the number one Darwinism theatrical cinema moment so far of this
Oh.
year for me.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
there you
I
go.
guess to be fair, it did put on fans in the building, so maybe he's thinking like, crap, what if they go after the building? I don't know. I
Oh
mean,
no, my
Still
air
dumb.
conditioning.
Hey man,
Jeez. There's another thing that we all had an issue with. Actually, I had a couple of things. And that's when the whole city is walking toward the boats. I'm like, how is this a good idea? I would never do that. And she's like, okay, the outbreak barely happened. They don't know any better. It's like, are you serious? Like, if one person sneezes,
Yeah,
done.
I feel
I was
like,
like, there's no way I would have.
Oh.
I would have waited.
To be fair about that, I mean, most people work in a mob. When a mob happens, everybody kind of just goes with it. So
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I agree with you, Steve, and I remember thinking the exact same thing. But
But
there is safety in numbers, and that's probably what
I
these
guess
people
that's
figure. They're
fair.
like, if I'm in the middle, the monsters will grab everyone on the sides. Like, I could kind of justify it. It's better than the generator. I'll give it that.
okay.
It's better than generator, but it's still, I would be absolutely like, no, I got to get away from this crowd. It's only a matter of
Yes.
time till someone falls over, and that's exactly what happened. So I guess it was
Yes.
just trying to show that.
well, and you'd have to figure that some of those people have no clue where they're going. Some of those people are people like Eric, who is from a completely different part of the world, and he has no clue where he was going. So he was just following the crowd to direct him the right way. And he even asked for directions at one point because he's just like, which way am I supposed to go?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's true. And when that scene happened, so I guess that's what the scene was trying to go for. It was trying to say these people aren't quite ready, right? It's still the monsters are still filtering out people, but there was that other part in the scene, and I guess it makes sense. Like I'm not trying to tear apart the scene like the generator one, but it still made me chuckle. Was when everybody runs around in a panic. She runs under a car, and what happens? Some random guy, random Joe Schmo, grabs her leg, and he goes, "Help me! Help me!"
That's right.
And I'm like, this guy survived for like 6 hours. What are you doing?
What you doing,
what
dude?
is he gonna do for you, man? She's
I'm taking you down with me.
yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the only
Jeez.
Oh
point.
my
What a
gosh.
jerk.
Punk. But no, he got what he got coming, but still, I was just like, what is this guy doing, man?
So I will say about that scene, it was kind of, maybe you say it's ridiculous or just psychology if you want the crowd or something, but the sound design of it, of like slowly getting louder and stuff,
Yes.
that was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah,
Really well done.
Yes. That's
good sound design there for
glad
sure.
you brought that up.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah, for
It
a
just
quiet
made you get
movie,
more
it
and
had
more and more
really good
uncomfortable.
sound design.
One other thing that kind of irked me a little bit, it was actually with the cat.
Yes, the third
How
character I
many
was talking about,
times-
the guy, the girl,
That was
the cat.
that was character number 3.
That was character number 3.
How in the world is this cat going to go through so many scenarios and not once let out a little mew? Like, that cat is better trained than my dog, man. Like, that cat was freaking shoved under like nasty sewer water. That
Yep.
thing was
Yeah.
climbing on like some building where there was like fire going on in the background. I don't even remember, but Eric was there to help it, and so many opportunities where the freaking cat, I'm just like, how is this cat remaining calm? Most cats I know would be like running for their lives, but also mewing, like meowing for help. And
It's like anybody who
Yeah.
has a pet cat just knows. Like
Yep.
no cat is that chill.
No
Like,
cat is that
yeah.
chill. Let alone, and cats they're survivalists. They have really strong survival skills for a reason. So when you see giant aliens running at you, every cat's gonna freak out and try to run away. Maybe they'll be
Yep.
quiet, maybe they won't. But the cat
no.
hasn't evolved to be thinking that he needs to be quiet yet. So, I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe when confronted with a monster that big and scary, a cat will, not be loud.
You
'Cause,
know,
I mean, a cat, when they have to hide, they can hide pretty well.
That's
so
a good.
maybe
That's a good point. I would argue this: cats might be able to live in this world. Dogs are all dead. Every
Yeah.
dog is
Yeah.
dead. Because I just thought about the scene in Jurassic Park 2 where the dog is barking at the T-Rex, and you're just like, "Why are you doing this?
gone.
Why are you doing this, man?" And it would be the exact same thing. Dogs would be barking at the monsters and the sounds, and oh man, what a sad reality. All the dogs are dead.
Sad.
It is sad.
Yeah, for real, right?
But I will say that cat was the calmest cat in that situation I've ever seen.
For real.
Like, there's a monster right out the window, and he's just like walking around, just nonchalant.
Uh-huh.
No, like my cat gets scared of roofers across the street. Like,
Love it.
this cat would be freaking out and running away. The worst
so-
scene for me, Alex,
Oh.
was not the generator scene. It was when that cat somehow got on that steel beam. I have no
Oh,
idea
yeah.
that cat got up there. And then he has to climb up there. And the only way to get up there, then of course it stops right as he grabs the cat and goes to the next scene.
Yeah.
Because they had
Yeah.
no way to explain him getting down with the cat in hand.
Yeah, he goes in what is arguably the most dangerous and scary place in the whole film.
Mhm.
The whole film. And then it shows he gets away off camera.
It's like, this
Why
is the
would
most
you-
intense part of the movie. Why'd you do
I'm
that?
like, imagine holding
That could
a
have been
cat.
the birth scene. Yeah.
Would you be willing to save, let's say, a pet cat, a pet dog, if your life was literally on the line? Like, let's say if you were going to go retrieve that cat and there was a likely scenario you were going to get caught by these monsters, would you? I don't think I have a satisfying answer to that. I don't have a cat. I have a dog. So, sadly, my dog would be dead. He won't make it. But if I had a cat, I don't know. I probably would not save my cat. just being straight up honest.
Rachel, if you are listening to this, I'm sorry. The cat dies, man. I'm out of there. You dead, kitty. Sorry.
You're dead.
You got
Wherever you're at.
8 other lives. You're fine.
Yeah, there you go.
You'll be
You know, to
fine.
defend Ripley,
In one
it's
life, you
kind
might be
of-
missing a leg. You'll be fine. That's something I wanted to bring up in the spoiler section, though, is that contrast between all 3 of the characters, minus the cat. Let's just take the cat out. The 2 characters, right? Because she was in hospice at the very beginning of the movie, and she's kind of accepted the fact that she's gonna die. And then she runs into this other guy who's like scared to die and has his whole life in front of him. And that contrast throughout the movie was really fun to explore and see how both of them kind of helped each other through this journey. And then her sacrifice at the end was like, well done.
Yeah, I think that there, like I mentioned earlier, there are just some wonderful moments that are just kind of beautiful moments that were sprinkled throughout. Like the scene with her sharing food with the kids in the fountain. She gave them like a little chocolate bar or a protein bar, maybe.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
The pizza and the jazz scene, because she really wanted the pizza from that restaurant, and he like writes it on the box, and that was just super sweet. And then, of course, the whole frustrating moment, but it's very heartfelt, where the thunder's going on and they're just yelling at the top of their lungs. Like, I thought that was, like, seriously, like, I would be losing my mind. And so I'd want to get all that off my chest as well, you know?
Yeah.
And then, of course, Eric getting the medicine for her. Just a lot of, like, really sweet moments like that were sprinkled throughout this suspense horror that I thought made it a really good balance.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I think that's one thing the movie did well, is I can actually remember this protagonist and what her story was and what her motivation was. I don't really remember what was going on in the second movie, but to be fair, that was a few years ago. But I probably will remember this. And there were some really good sprinkled moments. The yelling and the thunder part is something I don't think I would have attempted, but at the same time, I don't know. I can understand why they would, because that's holding in, bottling up that stuff, and living in that world. I love the dynamic that they did bring the thunderstorm in, because I don't think the other 2 movies did that.
They did not.
Nope. And to just add to the last thing he mentioned with the what do you call it, the pharmacy. I don't want to veer us down another discussion again, but how come every freaking apocalypse movie, the pharmacies have so much available sitting on the shelves? I feel like the most realistic movie would be the guy walks in and it's just all gone. All of it. It's just like, oh man, because you've seen what people did with toilet paper with COVID.
Yeah.
Ain't no way some jerk is going to go in a pharmacy and raid everything.
Seriously.
Yep. True. Same thing with The Quiet Place Part 1 as well. Yep.
Everybody's too excited running to the pharmacy and got caught.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe that's it. The monsters are hiking at the pharmacy.
To be honest, I thought he was going to die when he went to go get the medicine in the pharmacy, because his anxiety was so high. I was like, oh, he's dead.
This guy dead.
The boyfriend
I
always
thought the
dies.
pharmacist would be in there and like attack him.
Yeah.
Well, someone was going to talk about the jump scare. I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
which
the
one
jump scare.
All right, so she wakes up and the city is all normal, and it's like, wait, what the heck is happening? And then one of the monsters jumps on the window, and it got me so bad.
Yeah, the
monster she wakes up for real. You know, of course, the city's destroyed.
That was a genius jump scare. I jumped probably 2 times higher than Jack.
Don't worry, Steve jumped really high from that scene. There were 2 scenes that I explicitly remember Steve jumping from. I think that one probably took the cake. It did. That one he was like, oh my gosh, I had to look up. But the other one was the unexpected scene that's panning through the city, and it's showing the subway, and it's flooded. And all of a sudden, some guy jumps out the water.
Yep.
So,
Main character number 2 popping out of the water. And I was like,
Steve jumps up.
I love horror movies, but I will jump. I am a
Yeah.
Hey,
jumper.
that's
I'm not
great.
scared, but I jump anyway.
All it just takes a lot of practice. You've watched it enough that eventually you build a tolerance. So
Okay, this isn't jump scare related, but I one of the gripes that I had was actually towards the beginning, the very beginning of the show, where it unnecessarily was just so jarring how it went from like super loud and then really quiet and then super loud. Like, I don't know, it was like some scene where there was like a lot of noise or something. She's like listening to music. I don't even remember what was going on. And then it gets really quiet and then it gets really loud. I don't know. Like, I felt like it was.
I think you reminded me of what this movie began with. They had a quote saying that New York City by itself makes enough sound. Like,
Yes.
it measured the sound. They was making a point that if they're gonna make a movie in a place, New York City is an interesting setting because
Yeah.
of how loud it is. But yeah, I'm not disagreeing with what you were saying there.
It was. I think it was just the director choice of, you know, cutting between what was like super loud and obnoxious into something really quiet, being in their, you know, hospice or whatever. It was just, and it did it so many times. I felt like it was like 10 times that it just went back and forth. And I'm like, okay, can we be done with the like random cutting and from like something really loud to something really quiet and then back and forth? And it's like, okay,
Fair enough.
Meanwhile, you have Steve over here.
jumping all over the place. Yeah.
All right, so I remember Austin was mentioning world building. I think you all are thinking the same thing when I was talking about how in that scene where we're seeing their eggs, was it?
Yeah.
Like they,
What?
we literally were about to see something about these monsters, but then it cut off and it didn't really show it. But all I gathered was this: are they collecting the humans, and the humans are being harvested and turned into the food? Because they were eating something that wasn't the humans. Any thoughts?
I have no idea what they were eating. I thought they were laying eggs.
They were eating decibels.
Yeah. They were eating
I have
something.
no idea.
But they were babies.
I don't know.
They were babies there. So
Was it babies? Don't remember seeing babies.
Are you serious? Yeah, they were definitely babies there.
No,
Yeah,
I-
they were.
I-
Were they
I-
babies?
They were baby
No,
aliens.
I
They were eating
remember
the-
thinking to myself, these are going to be babies. But then the egg opens, and I think the thing went over and started eating, and so I figured, oh, it's a food source. I don't remember a baby. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There were 3 of them.
Were there really babies?
Yes,
Huh.
Oh,
I completely missed that.
I missed
but they
that
were also
too.
eating that thing you were just saying. So I don't know what they were eating. If
So
they were
he
eating
was
each other like
eating
cannibals,
something.
but it was eating
Okay.
something.
Okay. All right. I remember a scene that I want to bring up. And
Let's
it's
go.
A scene. It's a scene that made both me and Jack laugh because I had to whisper something to Jack because it was the scene where the monster was chasing her through the sewer,
Oh yeah.
and it just I couldn't believe they put this scene in the movie. In my opinion, I tried to think about it, justify it, but I'm like, no, it doesn't work. But she's getting chased by this monster in the sewer, and it's where the water's rising and rising, and it's getting tighter and tighter. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the monster gets in the water and he dies. And I was like, and I just turned to Jack. I'm like, wait, it's that easy? I was just like, because I remember how the point of the first movie was trying to show how indestructible these things are. Like, you can't even
Mhm.
shoot them, right?
Right.
And then she just let it in the water. I'm like, wait, you could just kill it like you can lead a freaking insect or a mouse into a trap like that. Come on,
But it didn't
if
work
I
every time. The other ones that were approaching
Yes.
the water at the boat, they were smart enough to stop. This
they
one
were
was
stopping,
an idiot.
but we found essentially a design. We just need a water tunnel, and you can slowly, one at a time, kill them all. All I get is if maybe I'm just so ranting. Maybe this is just nitpicking. But if I made the movie, I would have had the monster get in the water, thrash around wildly, and then get out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's something they brought up in part 2 is they don't like water. But you never see one jump into the water, even in the second movie or the first movie. But
Correct.
Yeah. And then here,
so
all
it's
of
like-
a sudden, it just boing, hops right in and tries to start
He
swimming.
jumped right in.
Oh, he can swim. Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Now he's choking.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe he was just a stupid monster, like the guy going to the generator.
You know what? They're idiots on both sides, okay?
Maybe that's all it was.
You guys are awesome.
All I'm thinking is like, so wait, is Hawaii just like cut off from the rest of the world? And like, well, we don't know what's going on.
What was another time when we all kind of looked at each other and started laughing? I think it was when that first attempt that the guy tried to break down the door with the thunder.
Oh yeah,
And he totally failed.
Yep, that was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Wow.
Was anyone else waiting just for one of those things to try to jump on the ship at the end?
I was just thinking that. I was like,
I
what was
was
the end sequence?
expecting it.
I was 100% expecting. I mean, then again, there was a character on the boat that was there in the second movie, and he's the one that was telling everyone that they're afraid of the water, and he kind of helped the main characters do their thing. I'll be vague for Jack, but the fact that he was on the boat, that made me, I was like, okay, they're not going to get on the boat. But what is stopping them from jumping onto the boat? They are so close to land. It's like,
I know, and
we've seen these things jump.
we've seen them move so quickly. Like they easily could have jumped across and made it
I
to
guess
the
they
boat.
can't really
like,
see, though.
I guess there's that.
Well, I mean, they can hear, so
They can
Yeah.
hear.
They can hear,
Really
and they
well.
do jump quite often. It's
Yes.
yeah, like we see them like jump up skyscrapers and like flying around like Spider-Man. They can't get on that boat.
Okay,
They hear a
the-
noise, they jump, and like, oh crap, where's the ground? Wait,
I don't know if you guys, if this was a similar feeling for you guys, but watching the velocity at which they climbed some of those buildings was like nightmare fuel for me. Like,
Yeah.
you're looking at like a zoomed out panoramic view of the city, and these monsters they're not climbing up slow. They're like climbing up fast, like a spider on a wall. But this is like huge, like zoomed out scale, and so they're easily climbing like 20 feet per second, probably.
I
It's
That's
wonder.
something I have to bring up.
insane.
Yeah, I wonder if they had an inspiration there because when that camera shot from like the helicopter or whatnot, and you just see them just like crawling all over the building super fast. It
Yeah.
looked like a spider would on like a sandcastle,
Mhm.
and it was
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like that's why these things, to me, make more sense than a zombie apocalypse because if they're moving like that, they're definitely going to be killing people really fast. It's just,
Yeah. Yep.
Like flies. These monsters have never looked as good as they do in this one. And you get full-on views of all of them. And yeah, these things, they made them more terrifying than they've been. Minus, like I said, the intensity of the other two is still there because of the situations the characters are in at the time. But these things are fast. They're scary as crap. Until you have a suicidal one that swims in in some water. But they did a really good job.
I
These
think
things
you're being
look
I
awesome.
think you're being a little mean there. I think that jump scare, he just tried to hug you.
Oh man!
But yes, they do. They look really cool.
He was just telling her to be quiet.
Jeez. I think I,
I guess
have
I
to.
will say the actors did
Oh,
a
that's
lot
a
of
big,
good
Ooh.
silent acting.
dude.
Uh,
Lupita, sorry if I said that wrong. Shh, dude. Every time she started like freaking out about the monsters being near and she was scared, those tears were like instant. You could see the fear in her. I was like, holy cow, how is she doing this? Like, geez, like, yeah, she did really well. Every time she started freaking out and crying, I'd look at Jack and be like, wow.
I'm glad you brought that up because you can say what you want about a lot of mainstream films, especially in today's climate. Hollywood is taking a bit of a decline, right? Mainstream films are suffering from a lot of diminishing returns, same ideas, and some people have even myself included. I felt, oh, these Quiet Place movies, I'm enjoying them, but they're feeling meshed together. They're not really adding anything new, right? But this is something that needs to be said, is especially if you're trying to compare, let's say, a Hollywood blockbuster top-notch film versus like an indie film, and that's not even a fair comparison. I'm just saying, let's say a low-budget film is when they pick actors like these. Oh my gosh, like we really have people who can give us a performance, and that needs to be mentioned. These people in the movie did a very good job.
I also
Yeah.
just really liked the last quote I think that it mentioned, that she said, I I forgot how sweet the city sounds, and then she said you can hear it when it's quiet, and it's a little, I don't know.
That was
Thought that was kinda
that
cool.
was pretty profound.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was great.
I would agree to that.
Yep.
I'll say I do like that it let the sweet moments go instead of jump scaring it during it or anything
Yes.
like that.
Yes, that was
that'd
good.
almost be cliche.
Yes, I am
Yes.
glad it gave us those moments. Yes.
I agree.
Well done.
Overall, great show.
And the
Great show.
And talking about it has made me hungry for pizza.
Yes, indeed.
Let's go. With pineapple on it. We've had this discussion on our
Oh, yeah.
Discord.
Oh.
If you are not on our Discord and you would like to defend pineapple on pizza, you can
Don't
find the
do
link
it.
in the description below.
Want you to remind you that meh, it's okay was the winner.
Yeah, and if you want to fight the heretics, the Discord needs you too,
The Italians are rolling over in their graves right now.
Yes, they are.
Oh, man. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please give us a like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you know when we do another review like this or want to geek out on something else. Let's see. What else? If you want Alex and Jack, where can our audience find you guys on YouTube?
Oh wow, I don't even have a Euro. Type in lakes. Type in
Yep.
StarCraft Chronicles if you want. That'll take you to where that's where Jack and I have been covering a podcast that's slowly going over the lore of the StarCraft video games. So if you type in StarCraft Chronicles, you should find it.
Perfect. I'll have a link to them in the description below as well so you can find them.
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys. And until next time,
Keep it
keep it
nerdy.
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 Keep it nerdy.